As I walk through this world, nothing can stop the Duke of Earth. And you are my girl, and no one can hurt you. Oh no, yes I.
I won one of the first turtle races. Had the first place turtle, I remember that, and I found my plaque the other day, and I was going to bring it back, and I left it at home. But somebody brought turtles. I don't know where the turtles came from, and we all had a chance to pick out a turtle, and I picked out the cutest turtle, I thought, you know. And I don't know how you make a turtle run, but we put the turtles down in the middle of the ring, and the first one that got to the edge got the prize. And I had a carrot, and I shook the carrot. The turtle came running and got right there, right to the finish line. My big first prize turtle race winner, you know. It was kind of neat.
I have a story from the dorm life during the 1958 to 62 period. I lived in the Brown House, which was, I think it's now Hackett Field. It was on Main Street. And we were under rather strict rules in those days. And Dean Peters ruled with an iron hand. And the rule was that you could not leave your dorm unless you had on hose or socks. And if you wanted to go out in shorts, you had to be going to play tennis. And there were numerous girls who left the dorm carrying a tennis racket and wearing socks and tennis shoes.
I played basketball on the basketball team and got to see all the cities, major cities in Texas actually, being from Kansas City and having never been to Texas before, so it was a neat experience.
We would have ping pong tournaments. We at Wilder Hall, we had, they had just built it our sophomore year. We had Dominique de Menil and her efforts to bring art to our attention.
In 1948 or 49, very early on, they started having a large Mardi Gras. And they had kings and queens from Hollywood. And I remember Arlene Dahl was a queen one year, Ann Blythe, Pat O'Brien, Vic Damone, Bob Hope was here one year as the king. Then the year that I was queen in 1962, it was a very nice young man who was a senior with me named Boyce Elliott. And I chose him to be my escort because he was such a nice young man with nice manners. I happened to talk to him the other day for the first time in 50 years. He told me he has told that story to more people through the years about walking around the ballroom and my being the queen.
We had a curfew of 10 o'clock and I got in too late that night. I had been with Bill. And so the dean campused me. I couldn't go anywhere for like 2 weeks. My mother was coming into town and she said, you have to go to this wedding with me. And I didn't want to tell her I was campus, that I couldn't leave. So I put all my wedding clothes in a suit, in a paper sack and sneaked out of the dorm.
It's a girl
And
thing.
so I got dressed, went to the wedding with my mother, and the first person I see at the wedding is the dean. But it ended up that it was my cousin who was getting married, and when she found out who my cousin was, who was some debutante in town, everything was okay then.
There was many of us in those days that were commuters, and very few actually lived on campus. But those of us who lived in town, there was some who drove cars, there was some who rode the bus, there was some who hitchhiked, and sometimes we just walked.
And nobody had cars. I had a car my senior year.
I was part of a group that had a job after school. I worked the entire time. Tuition wasn't that much, but to us it was a lot because we were paying our own way.
I was very involved in the campus, though. I was here all day long. All of us were. All the city people used to enjoy the campus. So even though we didn't stay here overnight, we were basically really here all the time. Got very much involved in the school. Had a wonderful time, had wonderful professors. I later went to graduate school, and I don't think I ever had professors that were any better than the ones I had here.
They taught us faith and morals, but they also taught us to think for ourselves, which we are all still doing. If you would hear all the conversations going on in the next room at age 71 and 72, which we are now, you would see that most of us are pretty free thinkers.
Some of our memories revolve around the faculty members, Father Caird, Father Sullivan, Father Lee, Father Quinlan. They were just so close to the students, and we have very fond memories of all of them. Father Sullivan with his cat Diga, who had been taught not to cross the street, and Father Caird with the deep respect from all the students.
Talk to Father Caird, you'd have a question, you wouldn't ask it, and he'd say, you have a question, what is it? And if you go to confession to Father Caird, about halfway through absolution, he'd say, are you sure that's all? And if you want to talk about searching deep in your soul, that's what happens.
There was a Father Sheehy who taught American history, and Father Sheehy had two things in mind. He would not allow us to write to write in just any fashion. He wanted us to use a fountain pen, and he said, blue jean wearing breeds blue jean thinking. So no blue jeans around here. The other was ballpoint writing breeds ballpoint thinking. And I don't want any ballpoints on my exams. So you got your inky fingers all the time, but you did write with ink pens.
We interacted with the priest on a regular basis. That was beautiful because you felt like you were part of a family instead of they were the teachers and you were the students. It was like a family environment. I loved all the professors. Father Caird, Father Sullivan, Father Lee. There was just so many. I love them all. They were just absolutely wonderful and such role models.
We all loved Father Young. He was absolutely dazzled the young ladies. He was a young priest himself when he first came, and we thought he was so cool. And he was. He was a wonderful professor. He later became the president. He was always sort of a quiet person, but he had a lot of pizzazz.
We all loved Father. It wasn't just the ladies. The guys loved him, but they would never say it. But they loved Father Young because he was Mr. Cool. He was Mr. Cool. He really was. We all wanted to be like him, so the ladies would love us. I think that was the reason. I'm not sure, but anyway.
What I really miss is those who didn't show up. And I remember y'all having great discussions on the steps of the library, like John Irwin and John Robinson. You should be here, guys. We all talked about you. But the school has changed a lot in some ways, but in other ways it seems very much like when we were here. Nice and comfortable and nice, friendly people. And Father Braden wishes some of you were here and you're not here. And he still remembers his old jokes. And it was great to see him.
What they taught has lasted my entire life, and I'm still hopefully growing in it.
I was going to say one of the greatest things that happened to me while I was at St. Thomas was I met my wife.
We can't have that. Cut it right now.